So, according to the CDC, in 2018, women in their 20s accounted for more than half of abortions, approximately 57%, with women ages 25 to 29 leading the way for abortions, accounting for almost 30% of all abortions, right? So these are grown women that we're talking about who are capable of making real decisions for themselves, right? So, can you tell us what age you were when you decided to have um, your abortion and whether or not you kind of fell within that median range of ages?
Definitely. So mine was in 2017. So, no, I'm sorry, 2018. So I was 27 going on 28. So definitely right within that second category, late 20s.
Mm. And so 28, 27, going on 28 is probably an age that most people would consider to be an acceptable age to have a
Right.
child, right? Like, so society has all these ideas about when it's okay, when you shouldn't be thinking about having a baby, right? Like, it's probably
Hmm.
between the ages of 25 and 35 for most women. And so why at the age of 28 did you feel like it was necessary to have an abortion?
I think for me, well, the first thing that, and I know a lot of statistics talk about this, it was unplanned. So this wasn't something that I walked into or was planned with the person that I was dealing with at the time. So for me, there were a lot of outside factors that kind of led up to my decision. And the biggest thing for me, and I know that with this Texas law that just got passed the 6 weeks, I didn't know. So by the time I went in, I originally didn't go in to have a termination. It more so was just kind of, okay, I think I might be, but I'm not sure. So when I went in to go get checked, they basically were just like, congratulations, you're pregnant. And I thought, with what? And they were just kind of like, and they're looking at me like, with what? And I'm like, what? So when they explained everything, for me, I had to make a decision pretty quickly because every state is different. And at the time, I was in Alabama. And so essentially, they were just saying is you're 11 weeks. So you need to make a
Wow.
decision ASAP because after this week, we can't touch you. And so for me, there were a lot of other things that were going on externally, but definitely within that moment, it was unplanned. I didn't know. And not only am I carrying life, but I'm almost done with my first trimester. So at this
Mm.
point, we need to make a decision like yesterday. So for me, it just kind of time was a factor, external things, the relationship that I had with the person at that time. So there were a whole bunch of things that it kind of felt like were under this microscope of you need to make a decision by the end of the week, sis, because depending on what you decide, your life is going to change. And I would say for anyone, it changes either way.
Yeah. So I want to go back for a little bit before we
Hmm.
unpack a little bit more about all the factors that weighed into your decision to terminate the pregnancy.
Sure.
So you said that you didn't even know that you were pregnant until 11 weeks. And so, as we had mentioned, the new law in Texas um, requires that a doctor cannot perform an abortion on a woman once a heartbeat is detectable. And that's generally
Hmm.
around the 6th week of pregnancy. And so, if you had been in Texas at the time that this law was enacted, you would have not been eligible for an abortion at that time. And I think that's so important for us to understand is that most women at 6 weeks of pregnancy don't know they're pregnant. And so, and even you said when you went in, you still didn't know that you were pregnant. And so, like, what symptoms were you experiencing? Like, did you have any indication that something was off with your body? Like, what drove you to go into the doctor at, let's say, 11 weeks? And what were you feeling leading up to those 11 weeks? Like, was there any morning sickness, any indication or symptom that you might have thought that you were pregnant?
Girl, yes. So morning sickness is real. I just remember everything had a very amplified smell. And then if I did eat
Mm,
certain things, it wasn't staying down. Now, at
mm,
the time, I actually had been sick because I had come from a trip abroad. And when I came back, this is when that flu strain was kind of going around that just was knocking people out. So I'm
The
thinking, well,
COVID,
maybe
the
right,
COVID.
this the COVID, pre-COVID. I was
It
like,
was COVID. We just didn't know that's what it was.
okay, because it knocked me out. So I'm thinking maybe I have the flu again because I felt a little lethargic. But the big thing that had me thinking, okay, something is different. And this all kind of kicked in, if I can remember, maybe like a week or so before I went, because truthfully, I really just had no idea. And so the thing that had me thinking, I might need to go see if I'm pregnant or so, if there's something different than the last time I was sick. Because when I was sick with the flu, you just have flu symptoms. You're tired, you're weak, and you're not really eating. But when I decided to go, I was like, okay, I'm throwing up. I didn't have that from last time. So let me go check. And that's when they were telling me, here's, a pregnancy test. We can do a blood test as well. Cause I was like, give me the whole shebang. Since I'm here, yes, we can do the Walmart CVS test. I can do that on my own, but I also want to do a blood test to confirm that I'm pregnant. So I kind of had an idea that something was different. I honestly was hoping it wasn't going to be a pregnancy, but even when that came about, I was like, it still was more shocked. It's different if you wonder if you're pregnant, but when someone is actually telling you, you're like, wait, are they talking to you, me? Are you sure? And it's like, oh no, I'm the only person in the room.